Good morning, scientists. This is Mr. Overholt with the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools Science Department. This morning looks just like yesterday morning. It is a dark morning, thick stratus clouds covering the sky. Don't see a whole lot of light spots in there. We're going to expect to see a lot more rain today. Now looking at the data from Moore Magnet Elementary School in the heart of Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools. The Davis weather station on the roof reads 48 degrees Fahrenheit. 3-mile-an-hour winds from the east. We had 4 from the northeast a little bit ago. Humidity is at 93%, so that's almost saturated, 7 percentage points away from being 100. There we go. We changed a little bit, so we increased a little bit. Winds are changing out there. You just saw that disappeared. Our rain for the day is 0.73 of an inch, so almost 3/4 of an inch of rain. Our barometer is sitting at 30 7/100 inches of mercury. It says it's rising slowly. Now, as I look at this, there's another set of data that I can look at, and one of the things I like to see is what is the storm total of rain that we've seen. So for this storm that started yesterday, Monday night, Tuesday morning, somewhere in there, we've gotten 1.63 inches at Moore, and we can see that total is there. Yesterday we had 0.76 and 0.73 today. So if we add those two together, that's 1.49 inches of rain. So what they're saying is we have 1.63. After we looked at it yesterday, we got more rain. And then when they switched over to saying what the next day's rain totals are, that's the difference that's there. So we had a few hours where we were not monitoring this before it switched over to the next day. So total 1.63 so far. This is what we're going to keep coming back to every day. On Monday, we looked at it and saw that all the models were saying between 4 and 6 inches of rain. So if we're getting over an inch and a half here, and we still have 2 days left, we'll have to check and see what happens to that. I think our low is coming in tomorrow afternoon. That's when we should really ramp this up again. So as we look at our comparisons, we are 13 degrees cooler today than we were yesterday. That's evident with our wind directions that we have. The air pressure has increased. I thought that was interesting that we have increased our pressure, which that's probably causing us to have a little more of the winds that are out there. Yesterday afternoon was very windy. I was watching that because our trees were whipping around out there. I haven't seen a real downpour, but I think it's just been raining pretty much constantly at some point for the last 36 hours. I recorded 4 miles an hour wind coming from the northeast. Yes, it is raining outside, 0.73. It is cloudy and stratus and cool. We saw that we looked at our observation from the backyard. So let's take a look at this, see what we're noticing. We talk about the fact that we are 13 degrees cooler than yesterday. I noticed this. We have a cold front here. The cold front is moving from the north to the south. So the blue lines, the triangles are pointing south. That's the direction that the cold front wants to go, which means that behind it is an air mass that is predominantly cooler air. When a cold front is that far south, I'll bet you we're seeing a jet stream dip. I'll bet you our jet stream's right through here. We'll look at that in a minute. We'll see what our jet stream is doing, dipping that far south, bringing that colder temperatures. It looks to me like we're going to have those cooler temperatures for a couple days. That's kind of the way this is looking here. We've got this low right here that's in Kentucky, Tennessee. It was up here closer into Indiana, Ohio, Michigan yesterday. So it is dropping south. And I think this is what's going to come in, it's going to come further into here tomorrow. And we're going to see that happening. This low right here is kind of moving into the area. This is what we're seeing here come through this morning and this afternoon. This heavier rain will be coming through with this system. Here's that giant high that's causing a lot of this. Remember, a high pressure rotates our winds to the south, or clockwise, excuse me. rotates our clouds clockwise, so it's bringing more moisture out of the Atlantic into this, and then this low is making it and spinning it around here. So we've got kind of what kind of looks like gears on a bicycle or on a machine. As one moves one way, this gear is taking it in the other direction. So it's got a little bit of a backwards S curve to what our winds are doing. See what Windy is saying. I'm not even worried about this mess out here yet. We gotta worry about what we have on deck for the next couple days. All right, so 49 degrees, we can see that we've got our winds coming in this direction from the northeast, just like we noticed on our data. I'm going to zoom out here for a second, see if we can't see what I just talked about with the winds. So here's our giant. Let's hit the pressure on here. Here's our high. It's a big high pressure system. It really is. So our winds are coming here and they're snaking back through here, and then they're coming back into here. So we've got this big swirl of what things are, but this is where our low is sitting, is back in here, and it's going to be coming through tomorrow if we watch our timeline ahead. But this high pressure right here, this area right here, I've told you before, I've got family in Michigan. I just got a message from my uncle. He lives right here. You notice the Michigan is the shape of a mitten. He lives in the thumb area, so this is what they say is where that is, because you see the thumb of the mitten there. Um, they received 5 inches of rain with this same storm that was up there. With that, they have flooding. A couple of the rivers that are up there have flooded and gone over their banks. So they are looking at evacuations. A couple of the river dams have failed because of too much water pressure that are there. My uncle has been evacuated because he's in an area where, with 5 inches of rain and being downriver from those dams that have let loose, they're having concerns about flooding. So we have that happening up there, and in a mix with the supposed to be social distancing, but you've got to go and evacuate and go someplace else. So he went and crashed with some family, he and his wife. So as of right now, they are safe and everything is okay. But we're keeping our eye on that. Um, as we think about what they need, I think about the factors for evaporation because they had a lot of rain. We need to evaporate that water. We need to try to limit that water that's up there. So, what factors do we need to have greater evaporation? Well, we know that heat helps to evaporate. So, let's check their temperatures up there. Keep in mind, they're far north of us, so it should be cooler. However, they're warmer than we are. They're at 52 degrees, so they're warmer than we are. That increased temperature will help to evaporate some of that water off the surface, um, get some of that back into the atmosphere so it can move on out. Um, Wind, if you have a wet table and you fan it, it will dry faster. So what kind of winds do we have there? So they got 5-mile-an-hour winds. I saw 13 earlier this morning, and 10-mile-an-hour gusts. I saw 25 earlier. So it is gusty up there. So more wind, more heat. I think their highs today, they're looking at being up into uh, temperature. As the day goes on, they're up looking at almost 70 degrees, which is nice and warm for a day in Michigan. And then we also are looking for a need to have room in the air to take that water. So, what is the humidity up there? So, this afternoon, the humidity is at 42%. There's room for that water to be evaporated, and they are not saturated. It's going to be a dry air today. So, that's going to be helpful for them as they go through. Those are my indicators that I went looking for today to help give him a little bit of peace as to what's happening. Hopefully, those rivers will recede, which means the water will go back into the rivers and down and out into the Great Lakes. Um, there. Sorry for the sidebar that takes us out of our region. But I thought it was interesting as to what is the factors we need to know for fifth grade that they can apply to an area because of the situation. So that same storm was up there dumping 5 inches of rain is what's coming down to us, which should be giving us around 5 inches of rain. So what do we see for today? Um, we see that we've got a mess of rain that is in our area. It looks like this pink stuff that is to the south and east of us. I think that's so. Let's back that up. We're not current location. That's what's here in South Carolina, Georgia area. So we've got a little bit of something that's going to be coming through here this morning. We've got a little bit of rain coming down now. But it looks like 10 a.m. we should have a good band come through. Remember, we are right here. That circle is on the N. And if we march through our timeline going forward, watching this span, this blob right here, see where that one's heading. That's probably heading towards us. 2 o'clock. It's going to move kind of quick across there. So we should have some heavier rains at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock should be heavier through there for us today. And then we'll kind of keep on trucking through because we got that next green band coming through. Looks like into Thursday morning, Thursday 7 a.m. Tomorrow morning, when we're doing this our next video, could be kind of nasty. So we'll keep our eye open for that one. And let's see what our rain accumulations are. Let's say for the next 12 hours for us, they're thinking we're going to be somewhere in the inch range. So we should look another inch of rain between now and tomorrow. We were just under an inch in my rain gauge in the garden today. So I'll show you that picture. And we'll keep our eye on that one. So I dumped out in 1.2 yesterday and dumped out 0.99495 today. So we're looking at 2.2, 2.15, somewhere in that range. So we're over 2 inches here at the Overholt Ranch. We're going to keep our eye on this, keep our eyes to the sky, ladies and gentlemen. Young scientists, be thinking about what factors we have that we're experiencing outside. We talk data plus observation. So what are the numbers that we're seeing on our weather apps and through the weather link, through the Moore's weather data? All those links are on the bumper at the beginning of this thing and at the end. You can go and check that out. Get on windy.com, follow where this is coming from. I think you can have a chance to see how our weather is being impacted daily and changing. So keep your eyes on that. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we do science well.